Well, good afternoon. This is Frank Wyatt, and today we're going to be talking about tips to stay connected with your incarcerated child that's in prison. You know, it's tough to convey the complex emotions that you're feeling when your child goes to prison. People who haven't experienced it may not fully grasp the depth of your grief and the unique challenge you face. Here are some ways to communicate your feelings. And before we start, one thing I'm not going to tell you, I know how you feel, but I do know the pain of loss and grief, and maybe that's one of the areas that we can explore, and maybe we can connect with you and identify maybe that is what you're experiencing is grief. So one of the first things that we have to do is we have to be direct and honest. We need to name our emotions. Don't be afraid to say, I'm grieving. I feel heartbroken. I feel overwhelmed with worry. All those are real emotions, real feelings. You need to be transparent with other people. Explain the impact. Share how your son's incarceration affects your daily life, your relationships, and your emotional well-being. You need to set boundaries. If you're not careful discussing certain details, let people know. You can say, I appreciate your concern, but I'm not ready to talk about the specifics of the case. But you can talk about how the grief has affected you. You don't want to compare the loss. I feel like it's a lost part of myself. You want to say that it feels like I'm carrying a heavy burden everywhere I go. You want to tell people the isolation. I feel like I'm living in a different world than everyone else. And you may feel like, am I ever going to wake up from this dream? You want to share your experiences with other people. You want to talk about your visits. You want to describe the emotional roller coaster of seeing your son in prison. And maybe you're taking responsibility. Maybe you have some regrets. But that's okay, because you can get beyond that. You want to share your worries. You want to express your concerns about his safety, well-being, and future. You want to explain the challenges. You want to discuss the difficulties of navigating the prison system, maintaining communication and support. So again, you want to be open and honest about your experience. Do you know there's over 43 different types of grief? There's death, of course. There's loss of addiction. There's retirement, change in financial situations, and what you're experiencing today. You can put that into the category of grief. And maybe you have some unresolved grief that needs to be communicated. And that's what we're here for. My name is Frank Wyatt. I'm a grief recovery specialist in the Dayton, Ohio area. And we're going to be starting a group real soon at one of the Dayton Public Library locations on Abbey Avenue in November. And if you're interested, please feel free to contact me at 937-732-5868. And I'd be glad to discuss stuff with you, discuss where you're at. One of my colleagues, Miss Lynn's going to be assisting me in the group. And it's going to be a group where we can be open and honest, we can be transparent, and we can find healing, we can find forgiveness, and we can tell people things that maybe we should have. But all that, we'll talk about at a later time. Again, if you'd like to contact me at 937-732-5868. Hey, we'll talk to you real soon, my friends.